on. Oh, okay. Hello, everyone in Facebook land and out there on YouTube. Always good to see you guys. And it's nice to be here again. It's Friday, and it's a day for magical mayhem. Today, you'll just have Madam Mayhem, me, and I'll be your host, S, with the mostest today. And I sent the word out that our beloved Nellie is a little bit under the weather today, and so she won't be here. But I would love to hear from a couple other people I sent links to, and I'll send one to Nellie real quick, and if she feels up to it, join us. Then she'll have the link. So let's do this, and we'll go here, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to send this to her. If then that way, if she'd like to, and she just wants to hang out backstage, come join me. So anyway, I'm going to. I got comments, and I'll put up a banner real quick to, if you have any questions or if you would like to. Contact me for any reason. Maybe you have a job that you think I'd be great at. I'd love that. I really do. I'd love to do something that's kind of like this, but I have many talents, honestly, and I'm not 100% opposed to moving away somewhere for a little bit. The Quad Cities, frankly, is not super fun anymore. Of course, I don't know how many places are super fun. Let's be real. But it's just, I think I'm kind of tired of everything that I've been, the scenery. I'm tired of the scenery. I'd like new scenery. So, if you have anything out there, I don't care if it's in England. As a matter of fact, I would prefer if it were. Just get a hold of me at skeletonkeywitches at gmail.com. skeletonkeywitches at gmail.com. And if you're interested in any of the things that I'm showing today on here as we go, let me know. I'll start with this because it's sitting right here. But I make these candles, and they're quite lovely. I make them out of, I just get the teacups and saucers out of, the giveaway or wherever, some of them I had, and I just had one cup and saucer. And so I thought, well, what are you going to do with that? And so I made beeswax candles, and they're very nice. I enjoy them. And beeswax is awesome because it smells good too. And of course, I always add some a scent. Bergamot was this one. So it smells almost like Earl Grey tea. I thought that was kind of clever on my part. So, yeah. And then I have, I think this is a wren feather. A feather from a wren. So I believe. And so I'll put that back down over there. I love candles, and I love those, just that warm glow and the smell, and it's just great. And so I really enjoy those. And then behind me, I've been making these. What it is, that's actually a mirror, and it's got like speckles in it of gold or swirls or something. And I made it into the sun, and then I put zodiac symbols on the bottom, and also things like these are shells that I found on the beach, and I made them into these little hanging things, and they're really kind of cool. And here, I'll take this off of, well, no, just take this whole thing off of here. How about that? That's easy to do. Well, easier said than done, huh? No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, some of these shells were so beautiful, these little pieces of shells. And you can kind of see it because it's daylight now. And then I kind of waved the the wrap, so it was like water, you know. Hey, we got somebody here. Sweet. And so I'm going to bring her on right now. See if you can guess who it is.
Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you? No, Minnie, you
Good.
can't. My
Darn it. That's your internet's lagging a bit, damn it. Oh, geez, Louise. Gotta hate internet. Anyways, maybe she'll be able to come back in a minute or two. These I did. I just find these little fragments on the river on my beach, and then this was one I did with a pearl. I wrapped it, and it's got a little pearl in it. And then this is actually it's called Vaseline glass, but it glows under black light. It's pretty neat, you know. And then yeah, I did all these, and then I'm hanging them on this little wind chime, I call them. And I'm going to, yeah, I guess my daughter knows what she's getting for Christmas because she actually asked me for it. She saw it, I showed it off the other day. It wasn't finished yet, but I showed it off and she was like, hey, can I have that for Christmas? I said, sure you can. Hey, you're back. Oh, darn. I got no, I can't hear you. There
can
you
you hear me
go.
now?
I can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Okay, let
Yes,
me
I can.
adjust so I can hear you, hopefully. And
Okay, good.
well, he is going to
Aw,
make notes
hi. How are
until you
you?
say hi.
Now that's Stevie's little one, isn't it?
Yes, that's the mini Lenny.
Mini Lenny. Okay, he's cute as
Mini,
can be.
he's a pain
Yeah.
in the ass.
Oh
Come in here.
boy. Well,
The
he's
closet.
Mini Lenny, right?
Exactly.
That's funny.
My signal is still sketchy. We're moving to the closet.
Oh, the closet. Well, you know, closet's not always a bad place to be. It's quiet in there at least.
No, well, no, because the mini is still going to follow me, but we'll see how we're
Oh, I
doing here.
gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah, I don't have a nice background like I
That's
normally do.
That's kind of
We
weird that it's like the closet is where you get your best reception.
and Lenny says because he built this wall.
Oh, well, there you go. It was his
So I don't know.
intention.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I'm
trying to
thinking.
find something to prop my phone up here so I don't have to hold it
Yeah,
and
because
get the
that's
nice.
always a drag. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
using my laptop. Yeah, I'm getting pretty good signal today. So, but it's pretty clear out, you know, and I'm
Go
not
find
very far
Jackson.
from the box.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, what have you been up to? What have you been doing?
So, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely
Well, you've been
nothing.
developing some shows and stuff, and you got some ideas and things that you're gonna,
Well, I mean,
you
I
know.
guess yeah. If you want to talk about in my brain, lots of stuff.
That's all
Physically,
it counts.
absolutely nothing.
No.
Bored to
Yeah.
death.
Well, you're
Um,
still
yeah,
recovering, really.
yeah. And he finally released me. What did I
Oh.
see him day before yesterday?
Oh, great.
Only minor release, and I'm not fully, but I can
Right.
drive. He said I wouldn't
Oh,
recommend
good.
like going cross country, but
Hmm.
grocery store, small trips. He said, don't get
Awesome.
on the weight bench. Obviously, I'm not on the weight bench.
Does he know you?
Right, it's like, have you seen me? Do I look like I'm on a weight bench anywhere? Um,
All right. That's so funny. I mean, well, doctors have a sense of humor, you know.
right, and he really, and he knows me. He knows, we were talking about when the magazine came out, his
Uh-huh.
nurse, I won't call her out too much, but she was curious, we'll just say, and I said, well, I'll bring you a magazine, and and said so. He walked in on our conversation and he said something about paranormal. What's
Right.
paranormal? I said me, and he said, "Oh, well, I already knew that."
Oh, that's funny. What's paranormal? Well, anything that's near normal, but not quite.
Right, right. And
It's
yeah,
funny.
that just suits us all the way around, doesn't it? Even if we're not talking about ghost activity,
Right.
um, I would say we fall into paranormal in
Oh,
some
yeah,
line.
for sure. I mean, because, we believe in things that are unseen. I don't have to
Exactly.
see it to believe it. And
Right.
magic is real. Magic's real. And
Absolutely.
it exists out there. And whether or not you have the ability to harness it or, take advantage of it, that's on you, you
I've
know?
got screaming. I've got screaming going on at the top of someone's lungs. I'll be right back. I'd take you with me,
Okay.
but I'm afraid I'll lose my signal again.
Okay. All right. I'll pause you when you come back to this, and then I'll put you back in. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because my nasty closet mess. Nobody wants to
Well,
see
and you
it.
never know what the screaming is gonna, reveal. So I'll just wait for it to come back. So anyway, another thing, yeah, magic is real, and I'm just gonna say it, and it's true. And I think it's really about the intent that you have, though. You can harness negative energy. You can harness evil. Whatever you want to call it. You can harness that. Will it stay in the harness? Probably not. But you can harness the positive energy too. The universe is, it's positive and negative. It's just like electricity. It's just like everything has a positive charge. Our planet has a positive and negative charge. You know, we are constantly exchanging electrons with other things and other, the atmosphere, our body, the atoms are spinning around, and sometimes electrons fly off, and we're electrical. Our nervous system is an electrical, system that propels information around our bodies. All right, you're back.
You're back. Yeah, they had him
Sweet.
locked in the bedroom. He don't want to be locked up.
Oh, well, no, and I don't blame him. Being locked somewhere that you can't get out of is really uncomfortable.
Well, but he can unlock the doors. He's too smart for
Oh,
his own good. We have the lake
so
behind
he
us.
doesn't have to stay.
Yeah, so it's he is something else. Speaking of energy, to have the energy of a 2-year-old.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean, to be our age and to have that kind of energy,
it's incredible.
you know,
You
yeah,
could get a serious amount of stuff done.
no shit. I mean,
Yeah,
he
but think about the
goes
toddler; they're running everywhere, and they're no organization.
right, right. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. If we had their energy now at 56, I mean,
Yeah,
how fucking amazing would that be?
I know, right? And I'm doing pretty
Right.
good. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that you were 57." You got energy like a 40-year-old, at least. I
I
think I
get
have
that.
more energy now than when I was 40.
Am I here still? Did
Yeah. If you just repeat what you were going to say.
I got, yeah, Tom called me.
Hmm.
So,
Oh,
someone shoot a message to Tom Holland. We're live online.
oh, okay. I don't know. I don't think he's on my friends list, but I do need to share anyway. So let
Yeah.
me get on here and I'll share. Um, oh yeah, the Things Network. Their pop up came up. So because we are on the Things Network today. Thank you,
Hey,
Things.
things. I was gonna
And
ask what networks are we on? We're on Skeleton
we're
Key.
on Things. We're on Skeleton Key, and we're on my Madam YouTube channel.
Why are you not?
Those are like my go-to.
Why are you not on Parafam?
Because well, for one, I don't have access, and for another, I don't I can only do three. at a
Right,
time.
and I understand that, yeah.
Yeah. So with StreamYard, I'm at the finance level that I can only do 3 at a time. So I can't like light up the board, you know?
Right, totally get you. I mean, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes
you
it's hard
know,
just to keep the internet on, you know, so I can continue to do this, you know, with my laptop and not have to get on my phone to podcast, you know.
right,
It's not bad, but it's not desirable. It's not what I really want, you know.
right.
And so yeah, sometimes it's tough just to keep the internet on, you know, my phone. It's times are tough right now. And I'm got a few things
Lenny
I'm
and
going
I
to
were
put out
just
in my
talking about
store.
that today. I mean, he's just gone back to work after 3 years. Being
Wow.
on
Yeah, I've been off
medical
for about
leave,
3 years too.
and his first check, well, his first full check this week was almost what he was bringing home, on that medical disability.
Mm,
And it's like, phew. But I mean, still, we're still in the hole. It's still like, even though, it's better. I told
mm.
Lenny this morning, I'm like, I don't know how people are doing it now,
I
because the
don't either.
groceries are, just ridiculous. And,
Hmm.
in the last week, I've spent like, I don't know, a couple $100 on groceries. And he's like,
No.
and I said, I
And
know,
you get nothing for that. You get a
right.
couple bags, a few bags. That's it.
Right. I mean, he
Two
picked up
hundred
my
bucks.
Walmart order yesterday. Now, granted, they messed it up because there was like I didn't order 2 loaves of bread, and I got 2 loaves of bread. That should be stale before I ever go. I'll feed it to the horse. You know.
Well, I was gonna say throw it in the freezer, and it stays fairly fresh. Then when you take it out,
I'm
if
weird
it's like
about
it'd be
bread.
like a couple 3 weeks.
I'm weird about bread that comes out of the
Oh,
freezer.
oh, okay. Never mind.
I, I,
Horses like bread too.
I am not a big bread eater anyway.
Yeah, it's
So
probably better for you, could not to be.
right. Except like
Mhm.
I'll shrimp po' boys. I mean, and I'll do a hamburger on a bun. But
Yeah,
you know, and I'll eat a sandwich occasionally. But I am, like Lenny will do bread and butter with a lot of things.
yeah.
Occasionally, I might do a. It just depends on what we're eating. I can't even think of the last time I even had just a piece of bread and butter. You know,
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah,
my
I
standard.
ate.
My standard for bread is like grilled cheese sandwich, and that's it.
I've been wanting one of those for days, and I bought the cheese and I got bread and everything, and I still haven't made one. But
Well,
I'm gonna.
you need to make
And then
one.
yeah, and I eat bread. I like toast in the morning. I like toast and peanut butter in the morning with my coffee, and so I'm kind of have a weakness there for it. And I love bread,
Well, now
bread,
I do like
bagels,
toast, and I
buns,
like peanut butter on my
croissants.
toast too.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, peanut butter toast is great.
my weakness, like about a week after surgery, that that monster in my head went off. I want
Yeah.
Waffle House. Waffle House. And when I want Waffle House, I want that big ass breakfast with the grits and the eggs and the
Oh,
waffles, and I get a side of hash browns too.
that sounds so
And I want my
delicious right now.
toast and jelly.
Oh man, that
And
sounds
so,
delish.
yeah, me and my
And I have
friends.
my waffle iron out. I'm about ready to make some waffles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Waffles and
But
chicken. Oh my god,
there's
the
nothing
bomb.
like we call it the Awful House because I mean it's good while
You
you're
know,
eating
right?
it, but as soon as within an hour you're gonna be on the toilet.
Yeah, it's going to be awful then.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
funny. That's
exactly.
funny. Let's see. We're gonna. Oh, I'll just share it to my news feed and say, "Come join us."
Yeah, you can share it on my page and
Yeah, I'm currently broadcasting on Skeleton Key. Um, let's see. Yeah, I have a. I don't go to Spirit either because like I said, I only have 3, choices that I can do. So
right.
it's like, yeah, it's a bit limiting, but I'm hoping that from those 3 locations, people can share it, and then it can be on every page on Facebook.
Right. I'm kind of, gonna gear towards when if I come back into podcasting, um,
Hmm.
to build the YouTube platform, and then we can share YouTube on here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm working on my YouTube platform as well. I have 45 or something like that subscribers now. I
Is
took
that
that
on
from
your?
zero. That was
That's
like
on your.
zero 3 months ago.
What about your OnlyFans? How's that doing?
Shitty. So if anybody's out there watching and you'd like to see more of Madam in different ways that you probably ever have,
Probably like
subscribe
really
to my
more.
OnlyFans. It's only $10 a month. So yeah, they're paying for that stuff though, and it's not all just smut. It's
Yeah.
some of it's just stuff that's kind of naughty, you know.
Well, it's been like the running joke in my house, because we'll talk a little bit about breast reconstruction and the things
Right.
that do and don't, and people may not realize. I've lived for the past about 15 years without nipples. Now
Oh yeah.
there was some little, weird little things that were supposed to be nipples with the first set of implants that I had that were
Hmm.
actually cartilage under the skin. They did not line
Oh.
up right, and it
Oh.
really well, and those boobs were just all wrong from the beginning. If you've
Uh
if you've read The Tale of Ten Titties, then you already know about all this.
huh. The Tale of Ten Titties. That's good. I like it.
um, but anyway, so of course, when I had to do it again with my new doctor, I was like, "Do not leave those things. Please remove those things now." So there, it's just been flat surface. Haven't
Yeah.
bothered me a bit. Doesn't bother Lenny. So, um,
Yeah. Very.
of
That's the only
course.
people you have to be concerned with.
Right, but so
Yeah.
of course, I've been taking pictures like day one, day three, comparing
Mhm.
how swollen, bruising, scat, all that stuff.
Oh,
We went
sure.
from,
Yeah. You're documenting it accurately.
right. We
Hmm.
went from, very grotesque 4 weeks ago today to, I
Hmm.
mean, wow, the difference is
Yeah.
outstanding. I mean,
That's great.
this is the best set yet. So
Great.
Jesse and Stevie have had fun, because I send some people the pictures, obviously. They have
Right.
had they have had fun, and I'll send you some of these pictures. I know you
Okay.
probably have seen some of my posts where we talk about, the nipple of the month club coming on to
Oh yes,
OnlyFans and
yes.
stuff.
That's great.
Well, you'll
Nipple
understand
of the
why
month.
after
Yeah.
I send you some of these pictures. I just put out there Mary Titmus.
Oh, nice.
Stevie
Nice.
did the Stevie did the Mary Titmus one.
That's funny.
We have
I like happy. What is it? Happy boob giving.
Happy Booth Giving. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
not too
good
bad.
one. Well, we do have the Thanksgiving ones too. I think there's two different sets of nipples for the Thanksgiving one.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
we have festive. We even have spirit.
Oh, sweet. Sweet. That's
So we were
funny.
talking about, hey, if somebody could pay 89.99 a month, and they could be the nipple of the month.
You never know. That's fun. That is fun. And it wasn't even that much money. It was just enough to pay my cell phone and I was hoping to pay well, it was enough to pay internet and I was hoping to get cell phone on there too. Hey Anna, how you doing, girl?
Hi, Anna.
Girl. She is in New Jersey. So and
Oh,
doing some stuff and I referred her to our For Witches by Witches stuff, like pages and stuff, because she does candles and things too.
oh yeah,
And
cool.
yep, and so yeah, she's just a member of the Skeleton Key Clan.
This
So
guy's
yeah,
awesome. Well, we
I
used to
think it's
say
great, and
skeleton.
I often will tell ladies or well anybody really that wants to if they're witches and they got something to promote, I said go to the For Witches by Witches and put it on there.
Yeah, I tell them too. Some do, some don't, but I guess it's all a growing process.
Yeah,
Nice to
it
meet you
is.
too, Anna.
Yep. So yeah, blessed
Blessed
be.
be.
Awesome. But yeah, so it's been oh hey Paul Ferguson's here. Hey Paul. Paul
Well,
has just started an OnlyFans. I guess this is OnlyFans promotion day. There we go.
yeah, everybody
So
just
Paul,
promote your OnlyFans. Yeah.
exactly. You got OnlyFans, tune in and let us know. We'll give you a
Yeah,
shout
and
out.
hey, if y'all
So
think a nipple of the month club is a good idea, let us know. We may have to think about it.
yeah, I mean I think it's a
Swamp
great
Witch is a
idea.
broke bitch down here right
I'm
now.
saying, well, Swamp Witch broke bitch here too. So, and I haven't left the swamp. I
Me
seriously
neither.
have not left the swamp.
I mean, other than going to the doctor, me either. You know, and it's 4 weeks today. The only
I stay
place
home.
I've
You got entertainment at your house too. If you want something to do, you got crafts, I'm sure, up the wazoo. You got grandkids coming and going. You were trying to get healthy,
chased the horse, starting at 6 o'clock in the freaking morning when it's freezing.
I know. Oh, it's cold here. 25 degrees
I
today.
seen that. Well, Amanda and I, we talk every day, and
Uh huh.
of course, we always compare weather notes, and it's been kind of crazy. Our weather
Yeah.
has been really close in temperature, except
No
for y'all got
way.
snow. Yeah, like
Yeah,
she
we
sent me a
did.
screenshot last night of current temperature. It was
Yeah.
29 there and 32 here.
Oh my God, that's incredible. I mean, because you always think, oh, it's going to be warmer there.
I
No.
mean, now it's, I don't know, probably 50, 51 now,
Mhm.
But of course, my heat is still running like a mug out there.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
and you know
At
how it
least
is
you
to
guys
have
have heat.
water. When you have water around you, that lake effect shit is real. You know,
Yeah, I know. The
the wind,
river's right out there.
of all the floors that we've done, you
Hmm.
know about that nightmare. And
Yep.
we still have a couple of floors that, are not floors that we did. We'll just put it
Uh-huh.
that way. And so, like, you walk in the kitchen, the back half of the house, the bedrooms, that's all. Lenny and my dad, they've done all these floors, Hello,
Hey,
Paranormal Nation
Paranormal
Radio.
Nation Radio.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but you step out of the back of the house into the dining room, and
Hmm.
the fucking floor is free. Like, you can feel that
Oh,
cold
yeah.
air coming in. So I have a
My
nice.
kitchen's like that because it's above the garage.
Yep, so we have come springtime again that will be down to dirt floors in Alabama again.
Uh, oh boy. Yeah, my floors are all concrete or wood above, like a second story floor or third story,
Right, so yeah,
So
you're
yeah,
still
my
getting
house is
good.
weird because of the fact that it floods sometimes and water will be inside of my house.
Right,
So yeah,
right.
you got to prepare for that shit.
Oh, yeah,
Come
definitely,
here,
definitely.
baby. I got a new cat.
Oh,
We So now I have Sally and Bob. Isn't that just a hoot?
that
Come here,
is
Sally.
it.
Come on. Come on. She's the sweetest little thing ever. Come on. She's a really good cat. I mean, she gets into stuff, but she's a kitten. She's like,
Right.
I'm guessing she's less than 6 months old. And she was she got abandoned at a friend's house, and we were like, well, is that your cat? And that's a nice cat. And they're like, nope, we don't know where that cat came from. We were just feeding it. And I'm like, well, that's nice of you. I'll take it
Right.
home.
I'm
I
taking
said,
her.
I said, if anybody asks, I said, just let me know. I'll bring her back. I would not want some little girl crying her eyes out because she's missing her kitty, you
Right.
know. But no, she didn't belong to
Oh,
anyone,
she's
and
beautiful.
so isn't she's great, and she's soft as velvet. She is just the softest little kitty. And I named her Sally. We got her right around Halloween for Jack Skellington's girlfriend.
Because I took this
Jack
on
Skellington's
I
girlfriend is
wanted to
Sally.
put the tablet.
And then, we
Y'all,
have
Me watch Nito.
all right, y'all go play.
we
Boy,
already
you are
had Bob.
nasty.
So then it was like Sally and Bob, and that
Right.
was my parents. My parents were
Right.
Sally and Bob.
Right.
So it's just weird that I have cats that are Sally and Bob now.
Well, they'll
Uh,
always, Sally and Bob will always be with you in every way, in the
right.
physical world and
Exactly.
in the
And
spiritual
it wouldn't
world.
surprise me if this was like this was my mother.
Right.
you know.
Hey, I mean, that's what a familiar is a familiar spirit,
It is exactly right. It's a familiar spirit. and
Right.
she is definitely a familiar spirit. She fit right in here, so just like a glove, you know. It
Right.
was seamless,
Like
and
she
she
belonged.
like she belonged here. She really did. And even Bob, you know, who's generally kind of cranky, he will lay down and sleep right next to her and not have a problem with it at all. I mean, they got along like peas in a pod from pretty much from the start, you know.
Well, they're
And
just like Forrest and Jenny. They're like peas and
peas
carrots.
and carrots, I
They're peas and carrots.
know. And also then she just she pounced I watched her pounce Bob the other day, and he walked by like he didn't even notice because he's so much bigger than she is. But yeah,
She looks like she's a good sized girl, though.
she's not bad. I wondered if she wasn't part Maine Coon cat or something. So, because she's got that long, fluffy, really soft fur, that or she might be ragdoll because she does kind of act like a ragdoll.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I don't know where she came from other than the fact that she was at my friend's house and needed to go somewhere else. Hey,
Hello, Richard.
Richard, nice to see ya. So yeah, that's my friend. I sometimes will refer to him as Santa because he looks a little bit like that.
He does look a little
And
bit like Santa.
little bit, yeah. So, anyways, but that's a good thing. He's really kind of like Santa Claus as well. So
Oh, well,
he's
that's
just
nice.
a generous man who is kind to others and makes things out of wood.
Oh, well, that's really
So,
cool.
yeah, he's a cool guy. So thanks again, Richard, for tuning in with us. And
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
I'm
Nice
just
to
petting the
meet you.
cat, podcasting, chatting with my friend, and petting the cat.
Yep, from promoting OnlyFans. So yeah, everybody, if you got your OnlyFans, put your link out there.
Yeah, stick your OnlyFans out there, and I'll give you a shout out, and we'll try to post the link for you. And then, maybe you can catch a couple more subscribers because really, that's been big for a lot of people. But OnlyFans kind of changed stuff, and it wasn't for the better. And I mean, they went in and gutted my page, and I kind of lost interest in it a little bit after that. And I think that that's kind of where I've left it so far. And so I
Right.
really think I just need to get back on posting things and stuff to
Well,
make
I
it a bit
tell
more
you,
entertaining.
there's this little girl, and I won't give too much information on her, other than she's small town Alabama. When she was 16, 17-year old, did TikTok. And she
Mhm.
did this TikTok with one of her pets. It was a cute little TikTok.
Right.
And she got thousands of followers because of that video. It was one
Nice.
that, shared and recreated, all that
Yeah.
stuff they do on TikTok.
Right.
So apparently she was not in a good situation. When she turned 18, she moved to New York. She had opened OnlyFans, and
Hmm.
this child has banked over $1 million now
Oh my gosh.
from OnlyFans.
That's
I'll
incredible. And I
I'll
knew another
send
guy who
you.
did that too. He just started and he had he knew a few people who helped him. They call them collaborators. And they helped him like get a little bit more exposure. But his thing was he had a great big huge one. And when I say huge, I mean he was scrolling through his page, and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, go back." And he went back a couple and I'm like, "Oh my god." I go, "That's huge." And he's like, "That's me." I'm like, "No." He's like, "Yeah." It's like, holy crap. No wonder we want to watch you. So
Well,
yeah, that was his
that's
thing.
we like I said, it's been the joke in the house, about the nipple of the month club. But
Right.
there's a market for everything out there now.
Yes,
You
there
just
is.
got to
And
hit the right spot.
yeah, and I'm kind of hoping the podcasting does that, or at least shines a light on my great interviewing skills. Because I would
Right.
love to do this for a living and just be, in broadcasting. And no, I don't have an education in broadcasting, but do you really need one? I mean, I figure I could get
I
my
mean, you look
education
at
on the
some of these
fly.
people like Humphrey,
You know,
Robert Humphreys. and Jeremy York. Now I don't
Mhm.
know, exactly what their education is in, broadcasting, and I'm not saying that they don't. But I'm
Right.
saying, look at the amazing things that these guys are doing.
Oh
You
gosh,
know,
yeah.
they're definitely skilled, and I think, for a lot of them, I'm not speaking for Jeremy and Robert directly, but I think a lot of them, like us, are self-taught.
Oh,
Thought,
definitely.
well, let's see what happens when we do this, and you
Right.
know, and Jess and I kind of started it. It was not to make money, but we originally had talked about doing like just an audio. That
Hmm.
was a team, an internal team thing.
Right.
Before you were in the internal team thing,
Right. Right.
where we had talked about doing this podcast, Patreon, and all that for equipment money. Because
Right.
right now the equipment comes out of my pocket.
Right.
Now I've
Yeah.
had some.
Everything, that you do.
Right, right. So, right, everything we do, if we go investigate someone's house, our travel and all that. I got an
Right.
eyelash stuck or something.
Yeah.
Um, that's on us. So for people
Yes,
who
exactly.
think that we're out here making killing paranormal investigating, no, it's a,
Nah.
you know, the I don't look at it as a hobby. So please do not take it that way when I say it. But
Right.
it's an expensive hobby,
Right.
because unless you get a TV
Because you're not
show,
making a living at it, so you got to call it something.
right, right, if you're not on a TV show, you're not making
Hmm.
money.
Right.
So we thought,
And I think some of those TV shows are hokey. I'm just saying. It's not all of them, but I think some of them are just hyped.
well, and I'm just Zach Bagans. I laugh. For me, he's like the comedian of paranormal investigators, and I
Nice.
know that probably will make his skin crawl if he ever heard that I said that. Because I know that's not what he wants to be. But for me, you know, I've been out there in the field, you know,
Mhm.
and what he does, he's such a drama queen, and I
He
laugh.
makes paranormal entertaining, which is, I mean, it's good. The people will watch, and they'll learn.
Right, right.
Hmm.
So, but it's not what people don't realize for ghost hunters and ghost adventures and all of them that are out there.
Hmm.
I would
Yeah.
say for me, the most legit ones was probably Taps. Jason Howes and his crew out there.
Hmm.
If I'm seriously watching to be watching to learn or something, I'm watching Taps. And hey, Willie.
You can't really itemize anymore with taxes. I think they just give you a flat write-off amount it was different. They changed the tax laws, and you didn't have to itemize list everything that you spent money on. But yeah, I know. I mean, you have to actually though have a business, a tax ID number and all that,
Right,
which whether or not you do is that's kind of up to the person taking care of the business. And so you have to just like navigate that stuff on your own. Let's face it, kids, in the public school system, they teach you nothing about starting a business, really, not in the classroom.
no,
Maybe you've got an extracurricular that'll teach you something, but not in the classroom. And they don't teach you even how to balance a gosh darn checkbook. They
right.
don't teach
Yeah,
you
they
really
don't.
any
I mean,
life
yeah, how many
skills
kids
in school.
graduate at 18 and don't realize if you move out of the house, you got to call the electric company to get your electric on.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I've seen that, and it's been like,
Yeah. But then we set them
okay,
out there and expect them to be successful. I
right,
mean, who are they? They have to learn some of these skills, and that's how you learn is by doing. That's my opinion. So if you're wanting to get into something, just go out and see if you can start doing it somewhere.
right.
And
And I will
for
touch
me,
base. No, I had it up there for a reason so we didn't lose it. Okay, take him out of here. We'll be done in just a minute, and I'll be out there. So, Willie, to touch back on what you said, go on, Minnie. Now get out. Pick him up and take him out. Um, I did talk to a lady one time about, you know, making Spirit of Business, business license, all that stuff. She told me that paranormal, with the taxes and stuff, that it would be complicated. And that it was
Huh.
best, if I'm not making any money right now, not to worry about that.
Right. And
You know,
so,
'cause-
if you're not, you don't really have to, it's sort of like almost like they view it as breaking even.
right,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
So, but I have thought about, doing the whole LLC and all that crap, and maybe if I'll look at doing that, next year.
Hmm.
Um, as you can hear, we're having child meltdown out here.
I know. They're funny. It's just like, I remember, being a kid and it's like, oh, that's what we sounded like when it was like, mom, mom.
I can remember my mom saying, "Would you just shut up for 5 minutes? 5 minutes, would you just shut up?" And now with the mini Lenny, I feel that so hard. So if his eyes are open, he's talking. I mean,
Oh my
but
goodness.
it's just going. It's just blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You can understand some of it, and some of it you can't.
And you just go, okay.
Yeah, and
And
literally,
you hope he's not saying, I'm going to go turn on the stove.
right, right. Literally, but the minute his eyes open, he starts talking, and he will talk until he falls asleep.
I think I was probably like that to my grandmother.
And, well, like I said, I can now kind of relate to my mom. Would you just
Yeah.
shut up for 5 minutes? I was having that
Yeah.
kind of horse chasing the horse and stuff this morning, and and he's a kid that if he hears anything moving in the morning after the sun comes up, he's awake.
Yeah.
So battling the horse out in the yard and then trying to tiptoe back through the house to not wake him up. Of course, I didn't get anything done without waking him up. So now,
Right.
chasing the kid and the horse in the yard.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't
like, is
I
this
didn't I guess I
Monday
didn't
or
realize you still had
Friday?
a horse there.
Yeah, I still got Dixie, my black and
Oh,
white, my mare. She,
okay.
I got her, to be a companion to Chester,
Right.
because I loved him so much. And,
Yeah.
I would
We
recommend
did that for
anybody that,
Gator. We got Gator a
right,
companion. Hmm.
right, and I would recommend that anybody that wants a horse and, you think you want a horse, don't get a mare. Just don't
They're
get a mare.
bitches, aren't they? They are
She is
bitches.
such a bitch.
Hmm.
Such, she has got no use for a human.
No, I
Period.
know. We
She
had one
wasn't.
too. That's what we did. We made the same mistake. We got our male gelding, who was great, a female companion, and she was a bitch.
Well, I got her for looks alone. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
she's
okay.
beautiful. She's
Pretty. Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But boys, and I knew that she had a nasty little attitude. But she was
Yeah.
young when I got her. I think about two. And I
Okay.
thought, she'll get better. No,
No, she's
no.
attitude probably just gets a little worse every year. Yeah.
And like today, the last time I had reconstruction surgery 7 years ago, I think
Hmm.
I was 4 or 5 days out of surgery. I mean, I still had tubes running out and stuff. And we
Oh,
lived
wow.
on
Yeah.
Highway 41,
Uh-huh.
traffic,
Right.
Friday afternoon, and
Oh,
this bitch
boy.
is breaking down the damn fence.
Oh, my
You know,
God.
yeah, I'm staying, and then I got her back and, got her back in the fence, and I'm trying to put up the fence, doing stuff I should not be doing. Now I
Right.
wonder if that wasn't the problem, with the last set. Did I
Yeah.
do
Because, I mean, that
something?
can rip stuff and, yeah.
Well, and roll him, he's keeping me in this, I call the full metal jacket bra, for
Oh, boy.
another 2 months because
Oh,
he
2
said,
months.
it's, his theory that, there's no proof on it, but his theory that until they're really good and healed, moving your arms and lifting your arms can roll them,
Oh, yeah.
the implants in there. So
Yeah.
anyway, I was out there and trying to fix the fence, hold it up, and this bitch jumps over me
Oh, my
and
God.
runs down the dog fence, you
Oh, my
know.
gosh.
So, and I had thought about that, here 4 or 5 weeks ago,
Right. Well,
but
yeah, I imagine.
thank God we're not on Highway 41 anymore.
Hmm.
And, we won't have that problem. And I'll be damned, like 2 days this time after surgery, I
Hmm.
seen a tree laying. I was like, that is not a tree laying there. And I walked out there and son of a bitch, it was a tree down on my fence.
Oh
And
no.
obviously, it's a whole big ass tree I can't do nothing with. And it
Right.
was snapped in one place. So I was able to kind of rig it, but
Right.
barely. And I
Disguise it so
told,
she didn't know it was there, maybe.
right, and I told
Yeah.
Lenny, and of course he went back to work 2 days after I had the surgery, so, so
Oh
he's,
wow.
getting himself back into work routine.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
dark by the time he gets home now,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
we kind of just hope that, my little temporary rigging out there,
Hmm.
I wake up this morning, and I open my
Oh
eyes
no.
and I see the horse kind of, moving this direction, like following Lenny out of the driveway.
Oh
And I'm
no.
thinking,
That's
why
not
does it
right.
look like my horse is not in the fence? And it was like, what, my horse is not in the fence? So I'm out there at
Yeah.
6 o'clock this morning. It's 29 degrees in my flip flops and
Oh my
pajamas.
God. With
And
a
I'm
bucket
like,
of grain going here,
it's like, what is it
girl.
with you when I have boob surgery that you're going to be an asshole?
Oh my gosh. Well, and he said female with attitude. No way. LOL. That's what Richard says.
Right.
Well, and then
Especially no female with attitude around here.
oh yeah, yeah. Cause
No, I mean,
yeah,
there's no attitude around here.
oh, I bet not. At the Wilson Ranch, yeah, there's no attitude.
Even the
That's so
two female
funny.
dogs have attitude.
Yeah. How many dogs do you have now?
Today,
Hmm.
5.
Five.
Tomorrow, I'll
Because
be
you're still boarding and rescuing and stuff like that, aren't you?
right, right.
Yeah.
I'll have 7 well, probably not next week. I'll probably
Hmm.
only have one of my elderly ladies,
Uh-huh.
who was just here to live out her life, has
Oh,
come
wow.
to that point.
Oh my.
So
That's
I'll
sad.
probably gonna, I mean, she's not suffering anything right at the moment, but there's a very
Mhm.
large tumor, in her throat.
Oh boy.
And coming into the holidays, we've all had that happen. You get them in a situation, you have to wait for your regular vet to open back up after the holidays, or it's the middle of
Yeah.
the night. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to get in that position, and I'm going to take care of her before
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. So,
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. And then, you can just like kind of relax after that and just it's done. And it's
yeah.
sad. But sometimes it's better to just make the decision and then follow through on it right
Well,
off.
Lenny had that
Don't
Rottweiler
hesitate.
Cassie. I don't know if you remember Cassie. Cassie was a flood victim
Yes.
from Iowa.
Yep.
Well, when
Rottweiler, right?
right, and
Yep.
she got a very large bone cancer in her shoulder,
Oh,
and
that's sad.
it of course progressed. Got around the holidays, and
Hmm.
Lenny,
Hmm.
ain't none of these damn animals mine. But well, let's just wait till after Christmas, and
Hmm.
then it was let's just wait till after the New Year, and then she got in a really bad, and it was just heartbreaking,
Yeah.
and now I swore I would never do that again,
Yep.
and I have not.
Right.
When I see that, okay, it's getting to be a problem,
Yeah.
especially with the holidays coming. Now if it was July, I wouldn't be so worried about coming into a day with vets being closed or on holiday or
Right.
whatever.
Right. Oh, could you put a couple pieces on? Fluff it. My
Stop the
fire.
fire.
Sam came to fluff my fire.
Oh,
Come on,
thanks.
baby. Fluff my fire. Hey, Sparky's here.
Yeah.
Sparky's my number one collard sub because he was the one I collared first. So, he's come to visit and I couldn't be more happy. And then Sam, is my live-in sub.
Hey,
Sam.
Sam.
Sam's gorgeous. I love him. And then
I've
and
seen him on some of the shows. I may
mhm.
not always comment because it's hard for me to get a damn signal. And then if I start commenting, then I
Right.
throw my stuff off. So it's like you can have one or the other. I can watch and not say anything.
Or you can join in but then you can't watch anything.
Yeah, then I'm rebooting continuously.
Right. I just need. I have one more that I'm gonna try and corral this evening, and then we're just gonna hang out and commune because I haven't really spent a lot of time with some of these guys lately. Just the pursuit of money has really been my main focus right now, and it's been tough for everyone. Sparky was changing jobs. Sam is hey, Richard says hey, Sparky and Sam. So anyway, yeah, I just it's just been just incredibly stressful. And times without enough money to go around are very stressful. And so I kind of been focusing on that a lot, so I try and manifest that into my life. It could be in the form of a new job that I will actually like. That
Right.
somebody comes forth and says, "Hey, I got this job that I think would be great for." And this is the podcasting. I've kind of hoped to get it out there that I'm available. I'm available, and I could do a lot of jobs that I probably wouldn't mind doing. Horse training. There's one that I probably don't. A lot of people might not know that I do stuff like that, but
Right.
I was riding horses before I could hardly walk. My mom used to put me on the horse and tie it in the yard so that the horse was my babysitter. She could do whatever. And she'd know when she came back, I would be on top of that horse. So, and I was just a little kid. My dad would scold her for leaving me up there by myself in the yard, but she knew the horse would babysit me.
Right.
And my mom was, let's face it, she was a young mother and
Right.
quite inexperienced. So, but she did all right, and I didn't die. So,
I mean, yeah, I mean, you're okay. I mean, the horse didn't
Yeah.
hurt you. So,
No.
I think that your mom really knew, and her and that horse
Oh
had a
yeah,
connection,
yeah.
that horse understood that was her job.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think people don't give horses enough credit for is their intellect, and their ability to sense how people feel, and
Oh, yeah.
just emotions and stuff. I mean, they're really acutely intense animals, partly because they're prey animals,
Right.
and you have to be tuned in to your environment and what's going on to
Right.
to avoid being prey.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah. So I just I can train horses to drive. I'm a professional coachman. I actually have a license for
The
that
lady
for it.
that, you may consider moving south because the lady that did that in these parts of the woods for
Hmm.
years
Hmm.
passed away not long ago. And I
Oh
know that
boy.
that's really been an uproar in the horse community.
Yeah.
And I guess she really worked with the minis, with the mini
Oh.
carts.
Oh
That was
God, I
kind of
love
her,
those.
that was her
Those
kind
are
of her
awesome.
specialty. And not everybody will work with them,
Uh-huh.
so
Oh, I love them.
and yeah, and she did too. She loved training them,
Yeah.
to pull carts and stuff. And so
Yeah.
you
They're
might need to come
fun and
down
they're
in the
like a big
spring and
dog,
do.
you know?
Yeah, you might need to come down in the spring and do some horse training.
Yeah, that'd be great. Check it out, like if you can for me in the neighborhood and see, if you can get enough interest going. I could,
Yeah,
take a trip down there, do some training for a month and come home, because in a month they can start working the horse themselves,
oh yeah,
and they
yeah,
don't need that professional trainer. They just need to be diligent about getting out there every day and
right,
reinforcing those lessons with their horse.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And that's another thing I would tell people about horses. They are an everyday pet. You cannot skip a day with horses. It's just not good for them and your relationship with them. And I think
And it's not like they don't forget their training, but they
no, but
will,
they'll test you.
try to make you think that they forgot their training.
Oh yeah, yeah, they'll test you.
Especially a
And
mare.
yes,
Especially a
because
mare.
once again, mares are bitches. Yeah.
You
So
know, the
hey, how's
lady.
everything? I wanted to ask you, how's Alabama Graceland? Have you been over there lately or
um, of course, I've not been over there since the surgery. Um,
okay.
but you know, my dad was here today. He's
Uh-huh.
over there working just about every day, and he
Oh,
said
okay.
he found a tiny pinhole in the copper water line in the laundry room that
Oh
had probably
wow.
been leaking for years.
Oh wow. So
So
he found a plumbing problem then.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, and that's good. I mean, you got to get those because that water will create mold, especially in Alabama, I would think,
oh
because it's
yeah,
humid and it's just a good atmosphere for it.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we're humid all the damn time anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and he said that he just brought in 10 sheets of 10 foot drywall. So yeah, he's over there doing some heavy duty work right now.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, 10 sheets of drywall. That's a lot. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably not even a drop in the bucket for the house.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure. And it's how when was that house built?
I think it's 1961 or 62. It's just a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit older than us.
Okay. Well,
Now my
yeah. I was
house
gonna
is the
say.
mine will be 100 years old in 7 more years.
Oh, wow. That's pretty old.
Hmm.
It's funny, if you talk to people from England and you tell them that your house is 100 years old, they're like, big deal. It's like they don't even think 100 years is that old.
Right, but in America, for
Yes,
a
Americans
house
think
that
100
somebody
years is a
built,
long time.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
really.
my house was built in the 1940s. So, it's not quite that old yet. It's like 80
But
years old.
it's getting up there too.
Oh yeah, and but parts of it have been like updated and stuff because they put the raised the house off the ground.
Right,
It was
right,
like on the ground, had a basement under it, and
right.
then flood. So then they got the money to raise the house up, and now it'll flood in the basement and the garages and stuff, but not in the
Right.
house proper. You
Not
can
in the
still
main
stay in the
house.
house.
Right.
Right, because otherwise it was like waist deep water right in the middle of the living room.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can't deal with that. So
Boom. I know. I think we're about done here. I think our time is about up, and I'm gonna.
it is. We have like 5 minutes. Is there anything that you'd like to throw in at the end here that you want to announce, or that you're working on, or that you have upcoming that you would like to let people know?
Well, right now, really, all I'm working on is like the Spirit Handbook, something that we've been meaning to do for
Oh,
like three
awesome!
years.
Yeah,
So
that's
everybody
great.
will kind of be on the same line, and know
Yes,
what's what and what basically.
procedure. There'll be a
Right,
basic procedure. Yeah, that's
right.
good.
Basically what we don't do in a client, for a client.
Right. Yeah, things we
um,
do and things we don't do.
right,
Yeah,
exactly, and
right.
because we kind of take off November and December because everybody's so busy with their families and stuff. Don't want to add any burden
Yeah,
unless an emergency case comes up. If
sure.
it, somebody's being harmed or there's, and when I say emergency case, I don't mean like furniture has to be flying at you or you wake up with knives, hanging over your bed. If you're
Right.
uncomfortable in your own home, I
Yes.
feel that's an emergency case.
Yeah.
Like one of my very first cases, it was around Thanksgiving, and
Mhm.
the lady was afraid to sleep in her own home, and this was an elderly
Oh,
woman.
yeah, that's
So
no good.
yeah, I mean that's an emergency case to me. You have to be comfortable in your own home. So I
Yeah.
want to throw that out there for anyone that's ever watching in the future. For Spirit, I mean we're not expecting you to call and say demons are in my house for that to be an emergency.
Let's hope
If
not.
you're if you're uncomfortable for any reason, you heard one little tap in the night and you can't sleep anymore, well, we'll be happy to come check it out because that's what we do.
Right.
That's who
Yeah.
we are.
Yep.
So, you know, we're tossing around some ideas, of a show. I'm, mentioned to you
Yeah.
the Witch's View.
Here's Bobber.
Um, you know, and I know that the View, the Barbara Walters View, I know that a lot that has a lot of bad People don't like that, but it's kind of based on that kind of a panel of witches, you
Right.
know, to sit
Hey,
and
we could
just
still call it Witch Watch.
just sit and talk about but it doesn't necessarily have to be witches or just hot
Mhm.
topics or what's going on in the world or you know who we
Yeah.
hate. We could do spells, um so that's kind of in the works out there, maybe,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah, and I think
happens.
it's good that to give people information, like that, and
Right,
maybe alert them to businesses that are witch owned that they can
right,
help, by supporting, and
right.
things that like holidays that are coming up,
Yeah.
things like that,
And happy Turkey Day to you too, Willie. I didn't want to leave that out.
Oh yeah, yeah. Happy Turkey Day, Willie. And I got to thank Willie. He helped me grow my mother always called it a moon plant, but what it is a belladonna. And my uncle
Ooh,
gave
you
it to
got
her.
belladonna.
I do. And it flowered this year. And I have to partially thank Willie for that. Also Sam. Sam gives the plants really good energy and he's very very custodial with them and I think they liked that and I
Right.
think that that's why he got it to bloom but it's been a collaborative effort to save the belladonna. My uncle gave it to my mother and they're both passed away so um okay, I'll be done in just a moment. I'm alerted that I have things I gotta do. So
Well,
and
same. I don't know
yeah.
about you, but mine is this shitty situation on a 2-year-old.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll leave you to that and hope that you get that taken care of soon.
Yeah.
I love you, my friend,
I
and I
love
will
you
talk
too,
to you again
darling.
real soon. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks everybody for tuning in. It was kind of good to be back out in the world again, even though I'm still in the closet.
All right. Well, let's let everybody out of the broom closet then.
Yeah, everybody have
All
a
right.
great weekend.
Bye. And so I'm going to call it a day and wish everyone a great weekend and wish everyone peace, love, joy, and all the good things in life because you all deserve it. And so do I. If anybody's got a job for me, give me a shout out at skeletonkeywitches at gmail.com. And tune in again to see Madam Monday nights at 9. And otherwise, you guys have a rocking weekend. Blessed be.